Welcome to the Age of Revolution project with myself, Wayne Sables, and Barnsley Museums. Here is a quick video tutorial of the Tagtool app. Let's launch Tagtool and have a look at the paint interface. This is the canvas. Anything you draw between the two white lines will be visible when you're either full screened or projecting. This is your paint colour. Whatever colour it is the colour you're using. This panel is where you select your paint and the colour. This is the rewind button. This is where you can rewind your animation in a non-destructive way. Here is the erase. Once you erase an image, it cannot be brought back. This is the menu screen, and I'll go into this in detail later on in the tutorial. Down here we have the animate page. When you click this, it goes to an animation interface, which we'll discuss later. You have zoom, select, panels, all of which I'll discuss later. Let's get into the fine details. Let's look and do a sample animation. With a 2-finger pinch on the color panel, you can change the width and stroke of what you're going to animate. With 2 fingers sliding across from right to left, you can change the color. With 2 fingers pulling up and down, you can change the opacity of your animation. Let's move on and do a sample animation. So with a 2-finger pinch, let's select this yellow and just quickly type hello. Using the rewind button, you can see we can just rewind different parts of the animation that we are creating. This is non-destructive, so it can go forwards and backwards. Let's have a quick look at the menu settings. In the menu settings, you can change your canvas size. You can change your user interface, so your language, whether you're left-handed, right-handed, etc. You can also learn more about the Tagtool app. You can switch between basic and pro, depending on which version you have. You can also connect to your own Wi-Fi settings, which I'll discuss later. As you can see, my iPad is called Wayne's iPad Pro. Let's look at the animation settings. Press the animate button in the bottom left corner. Here you will see a very similar interface. In the bottom left corner, if you click the paint icon, that will take you back to your paint interface. Again, we have the zoom button in the bottom corner, which you can zoom into different parts of your animation. We have a select button, which I'll discuss in a moment. At the top, you still have your menu feature, so you can full screen. You also have a delete, edit and duplicate button, which I'll discuss later as we start creating content that we can then animate. At the top, you will see screenshot, background, import pic and camera. This is where you can either bring images in, which is what I will do shortly. You can take a picture of a scene that you might want to animate. You could also change the background, or you can screenshot what you animate. At the bottom, you'll see a record function, which is grayed out at this stage because we don't have anything to record. Okay, let's import an image. Click the import. This will take you to your photos folder and you can import an image. As you can see, I've imported an image of the Newcomen beam engine, and I'm just going to rotate this and make sure it fits inside the canvas, ready to animate. As you can see, I now have a little square panel on the left-hand side. These are called layers. Once it goes yellow across the top, that means that layer is selected. That's quite important because that will stop you getting frustrated if you're trying to animate a certain layer and it's not working. If you click the paint tool, it brings you back to the paint interface. Click back to the animation tool and you'll see 2 layers in the layers panel. So every time you click paint or animate, it creates a new layer for you. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw around the structure, and I'll do it quite quick. Now remember, I haven't clicked the animate page, so I'm still on the paint panel. Again, I'll draw it quite rough so you just get a sense of the idea that we're working with. If you notice, I clicked the animate panel and it created a new layer. So all I'm doing is I'm layering up the Newcomen image, just changing the color and the opacity as we go, just to add texture and a little bit of depth within that animation image. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, let's just pause it here. So as you can see, there are lots of different layers, and this can get quite confusing if you're adding lots of layers within your animation. As we're arranging these, we can just see when it's clicked yellow in the layer, it is clicked yellow in the canvas. That is to show you that that layer is ready to be animated. So to animate, all we do is we put one finger on the record button, our other finger, just animate that layer as we see fit. So you'll see at the bottom there, the record is red, and I'm selecting the various layers and just animating different parts of the image. I'll just speed that up so you can see all the different layers animated there. So I'm just going to do the beam again. And what's great about working in the animation panel, if you do an animation and it doesn't quite work out, as you'll see on the bottom panel, there's a delete button. That doesn't delete your image, that just deletes the animated effect. There you can see the finished animation. All I've done to achieve this is I've selected first layer, which was the image, and changed the opacity. It's still there, but it's transparent, so you can't see it. Now, if I want to change the background, all I do is go back to the paint panel, color it in, making sure I color between the white lines. Click back to the animate panel, and there, as you'll see at the top, is a big scribble. As long as it's at the top, it's behind. So if you think of the layers as like a pancake, at the bottom is most visible, at the top is at the back. Okay, let's look at the network settings. So if I was working with my students and I had 10 iPads, we were all on the same Wi-Fi settings. What we could do is we could use my iPad or your iPad if you're the teacher as the master iPad. So that would have its own name. In the network menu at the top, you'll see my name is, and that will be the name of your iPad. Underneath that is a tab called Join Session. Now, I'm just working off one iPad, so I don't have other iPads connected. But what you would do is you would click Join Session on your student's iPad. They would connect to the master iPad, which is your iPad, and a new session would start. So what does a new session actually mean? A new session is where all the iPads are connected to your iPad. So if you plug your iPad into a projector, that will project all of your students' iPads at once. That is a real-time collaborative tool. It's really fun, it's immediate, it's really exciting. So the minute your students draw or animate on their iPad, that will appear on the screen. The way it works is it puts each iPad next to each other, so you have one giant canvas. So once you've finished your animation and you're happy with it, as you'll notice in the left panel, all of my panels are grouped together. So all I've done there is I've pressed the select button and I've dragged my finger across all the panels, which selects them all with a yellow top, and click group, which has just put them into one group. That's just a file management system, makes it much easier for you to keep on top of the animations. As you can imagine, simple animations, when you're animating each individual part, can become really complex really quickly. So the key to Tagtool is really just to play, test lots of things out, get familiar with the software before you're working with your students, and enjoy it. So if you have any questions or you'd like a little bit more clarity, just email either myself at artistic@waynesavelsproject.co.uk or email Barnsley Museums, and one of us would be happy to help you out.